Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. Today's book is Too Sticky, Sensory Issues with Autism by Jen Malia, illustrated by Joanne Lou Verenhoff. This is a library book, one of my 7 that I took out last week. Holly sat on her chair and poked pieces of pancake in syrup with her fork. She loved maple syrup with her pancakes, but not how sticky it was. If she was careful, she wouldn't get sticky syrup on her hands. But then she missed a piece. Her hand touched the syrup. Holly squirmed and shook her hand in the air. "What do you want, Holly?" asked her sister Nolette. Holly groaned. "Use your words," said Mom. "Dishcloth," Holly said. "How do you ask nicely?" asked Mom. "Please," said Holly with a frown. Mom gave her a wet dishcloth. Holly wiped her hand. The sticky syrup made Holly remember her science class would be making slime today. She worried slime would be too sticky too. Maybe she wouldn't have to go to school if she ate slowly. Holly continued eating, but then Nolette's fork slipped out of her hand and crashed to the floor. Holly covered her ears with her hands. Loud noises hurt. "I'm sorry, Holly," said Nolette. "It's okay," replied Holly, like Dad taught her. "Time for school," said Mom, holding out Holly's backpack. "I don't want to go to school," said Holly. "Why not?" asked Dad. "Green slime might be sticky," Holly answered. "But you love science class," said Nolette. "Slime day was my favorite." "I like experiments, but slime is made with glue, and glue is sticky. I don't like sticky things," said Holly. "Let's ask Miss Joy if she'll let you wash the slime off your hands," said Mom. "All right," said Holly. She reached for her backpack. Slime might be okay if she could clean her hands. Mom drove Holly and Nolette to school. The pine trees Holly saw out the car window looked covered with slime. She covered her eyes and took deep breaths to relax, like Mom taught her. When she opened her eyes, the slime was gone. Holly walked with Mom to Miss Joy's second grade classroom. Mom waited for Holly to speak, but Holly stayed silent. "For science today." "Could Holly have water and soap at her desk to wash off slime?" Mom asked. "She doesn't like sticky hands." "Of course," said Miss Joy. Holly let out a breath. "What do you say, Holly?" said Mom. "Thank you," Holly said with a smile. She let go of Mom and went to her desk. "Hi, Holly," said Nick, but Holly didn't hear him. She heard the noise of her classmates coming into the room better than voices. "Hi, Holly," he said louder. Holly turned towards Nick, but she didn't look at his eyes. They made her uncomfortable. Holly answered, "Hi," like Mom taught her. day, Holly thought she saw slime everywhere. She peeked at her green stress ball under her desk to make sure she wasn't squeezing slime. At lunch, the green jello looked like slime. At recess, the monkey bars looked like they were coated with slime too. That afternoon in science class, Holly stared at the glue, the water, and the green food coloring on her desk. Miss Joy set down a cup of borax mixed with water on each desk too. Holly loved experiments, but not today. She didn't want to touch anything sticky like slime. Holly had added green food coloring to the borax mixture and stirred them together with a popsicle stick. She carefully mixed the glue and water in a different cup with another popsicle stick. Holly turned her head away so she didn't smell the glue. She let out a breath when she didn't get the sticky glue on her hands. Glue thickens the liquid to make slime, said Holly. She liked when she could see how experiments worked. What does that mean? Asked Isabella. The thicker the liquid is, the less runny it is, replied Holly. Add the borax solution to the glue mixture and stir together, Miss Joy told the class. My slime is thick enough to stay on the popsicle stick, said Holly. She was so excited, she didn't notice the smell of glue anymore, but she wanted the sticky slime to stay on the popsicle stick. Nick and Isabella grabbed their slime with their hands. Holly stared at hers. Watching the slime thicken was fun, but since it stuck to the popsicle stick, Holly worried the slime would stick to her hands too. Why aren't you playing with yours? Asked Nick, holding out his slime. Holly groaned, and Nick moved the slime away from her. What's wrong, Holly? Asked Isabella. I don't want to touch slime, she answered. Why not? Asked Nick. I don't like sticky things, said Holly. Shouldn't a scientist test her experiment? Asked Miss Joy. She set a bowl of water, hand soap, and a roll of paper towel on Holly's desk. You can wash your hands when you're done. Holly watched Nick roll his slime into a ball. It didn't stick to his hands. She looked at the bowl of water on her desk. Okay, I'll try it. Holly squeezed her stress ball and took a deep breath. She gently poked the slime and pulled her fingers away. She tipped the cup, letting the slime ooze out onto her desk. She picked up the slime and squeezed it softly in her hand. Wonderful, Holly, said Miss Joy. How does it feel? Slime tickles, said Holly, giggling. It didn't make her fingers stick together like syrup did. The borax kept the slime from getting too sticky, but Holly still washed her hands when she was done. When school was over, Dad and Nolette met Holly at her classroom door. Did you make slime? Asked Dad. Holly nodded. That's great. Did you get sticky, icky hands? Asked Nolette. No, said Holly. Slime is like a solid when you squeeze it, but a liquid if you let it ooze through your fingers. Wow, you know a lot about slime, said Nolette. Holly took out her container of slime. Do you want to play with it? I know it's your favorite. Yes, said Nolette. We'll stop at the bathroom to wash hands on the way out, said Dad. Nolette grabbed a handful of slime. Holly took the rest, and they both giggled. The end, boys and girls, of Too Sticky Sensory Issues with Autism by Jen Malia, illustrated by Joanne Lou Verenhoff. Boys and girls, there is a particular page that I want to go back to that I think is beautiful. When school was over, Dad and Nolette met Holly at her classroom door. "Did you make slime?" asked Dad. Holly nodded. "That's great." "Did you get sticky, icky hands?" asked Nolette. "No," said Holly. "Slime is like a solid when you squeeze it, but like a liquid if you let it ooze through your fingers." "Wow, you know a lot about slime," said Nolette. That's her talking to her sister and her dad. And she ended up making the slime, washing her hands because she knew she didn't like the way it felt, and then she was going to play with it with her sister and then wash her hands before they leave. So they figured out a solution to something that made her extremely uncomfortable because of her sensory issues. Now, boys and girls, I wouldn't say I chose this book because when I walked in the library for the first time in several months, because our library is now open, this was one of the first books that I saw. And when I saw it, I was attracted to it because of the illustrations, and I was attracted to it because slime is so big here right now. Some of the kids that I'm with have a lot of different types of slime. Slime that smells great, slime that sparkles, slime that glitters, all different kinds of slime. So that's why I was attracted to the book. And then when I read through it before I read it to you, I realized it was a beautiful story that brought me to a story about my very own daughter. I didn't realize it at the time, but when my daughter was very, very little, she used to get very, very upset whenever she would put her socks on and there was a line across the top of the sock where the sock meets. She never liked it. This line right here, I'll show it to you. That line right there. You see that line? She never liked it. She didn't like the way it felt. She didn't like the way it moved. She didn't like anything about it. And she used to make such a fuss about it whenever I would put socks on her. And I later realized that it was because she just did not like the way it felt. It was kind of a sensory issue of not liking the way certain textures feel. And she's kind of still like that to this day, even though she is a high school graduate now. These are a few of her things that I've taken from her room to show you how much she likes certain textures but doesn't like others. This is one of hers here, this little guy. Very, very soft and very, very smooth, kind of like a fresh ball of cotton. A fresh ball of cotton is her friend. This guy right here, nice and soft and beautiful. You could tell by this fur, it's just soft and comforting. This guy right here, they kind of all have the same beautiful, like soft kind of fur that she likes. And of course, her pillow pet, her lighted pillow pet that she has in her room is kind of soft, the same kind of soft texture. And also her blanket. These are one of her blankets. This is the Lioness Charlie Brown blanket, and also like the throw that she wears over her shoulders when she's chilly. They kind of all have the same texture, which is the texture that makes her comfortable, that she absolutely loves. Unlike the texture of when the sock, I don't think this is going to say, the line where the sock meets. You can get socks now that don't have that line, and that would make her extremely comfortable. But I just wanted to show it to you. This line, a no-no. And that is what I learned from my very own daughter about sensory. That's why when I read this book, I was like, wait, I get it. I understand. Certain things, the way they feel, make her uncomfortable. Yeah. And when I was in school, certain noises would make some of the students very, very uncomfortable. They weren't able to sit in the auditorium during big shows and big plays and big concerts because the noise was just too overwhelming for some of the students. And that would be some of the students that had an issue with sensory and so on and so forth. So boys and girls, we are all in this thing together called life. We all have something that makes us uncomfortable, just as we have things that make us comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with us. We are all unique in our own way. So if along the way you meet someone, a friend of yours, a classmate, a family member, that has an issue where they don't like the way things feel, or they don't like what it is that they're hearing, and it makes them uncomfortable, it is not a time to make fun of them. It is not a time to say anything mean to them. It is a time to bring out your understanding and try to be a little bit more understanding in the fact that we are all different in some way, and they don't like that. That makes them uncomfortable. And we want to always try to make our friends, our family, and the people that we meet along the way comfortable. Comfortable is happy, and happy is being a kind and great friend and a good person. So when you're out there and you notice something that might not be what somebody else wants, be kind to them, because there might be something that makes you uncomfortable that you don't like, that's an issue for you, and you would want the same behavior from them. So it is Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. And I have to tell you, it's not just my daughter who doesn't like that line across the top of her socks. I happen to be someone who loves soft, gushy socks. It's just my thing. And by the way, I could wear socks in the summer. I don't need to wear socks just in the winter. And these are one of my favorite socks, just because of the way they feel. Look, these are one of my favorite socks. They are made by Earth Therapeutic, and they're moisturizing socks that have shea butter and aloe in them. And these babies right here, straight butter. I don't know if you could see it, but oh my God, it's like butter. It's like butter on your feet. So they make me comfortable. They take care of how I'm feeling about certain kinds of feels in socks, and that's why I love them. So for the rest of the day, for the rest of the year, for the rest of your life, you meet someone out there, make them as comfortable as possible and try to understand where it is that they're coming from, because we are all different and unique in some way. It is Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. And yes, this book might be too sticky, but it's okay. We love it just the same.